This is the Relevant Podcast.
It's episode 1078, and it's the Relevant Podcast. Here in Orlando, I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and joining me from Loverland, Virginia, is Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
All right, and I'm just right there. I'm going to break. This is a weird podcast because Derek is out. He's in LA finishing up his new album this week. Jamie's out as well. So sitting in with us, we are so excited. Our friend, podcaster, MC, there's so many titles. So many titles. Please welcome from Los Angeles, our friend Propaganda.
Hey, only when I get an email, Jason. Dude, I'm on Relevant Podcast. Yeah, I figured I'd throw that at you.
What's going on? What is going on?
I love it. That's the energy we were looking for.
All right, so we're doing something a little different because we wanted Prop to join us not only today, but also on Tuesday's show, because today he's dropping the final part of his massive Terraform project. We've talked about it over the last couple of years. He's got the book, he's got the coffee, and he's been releasing EPs to go along with the themes of the book. Well, his final EP releases today. It's called Terraform, The Possibility, and it's incredible. You heard us mention it after our Montana trip and stuff, after we heard it. Best album he's ever done. So excited for you guys to hear it. You can hear it today. Now, Prop, what I was thinking is, since you're going to be with us both today and on Tuesday, it would be cool if maybe like today we talked about Terraform as a project. You could tell us kind of like your vision for it and all the things that are a part of it. And then on Tuesday's show, after people go and like check out the album over the weekend, let's like dive into the album itself and like talk more about that on Tuesday's show. Is that cool?
Yep.
For the listeners who don't know what you've been up to for the last several years with this Terraform project, tell us what it's all about.
Thank you. Yeah. So 2021, I released a poetry and short story book called Terraform. It was my first published. Yeah, I did a self-published book before that, but this is my first published book. And Terraform, all science fiction nerds, you know, it's the process of making a planet livable, making it do what Earth does, right? And I just thought, man, what if we looks like Earth is getting less and less livable, whether it's the physical Earth or the social interconnections that we have with each other. So what if we thought of our lives, our communities, our Earth itself, our families, and ultimately ourselves as terraforming projects, right? So the poetry and the short story is around that. Now, each of these books, or the book has 4 sections inside the chapters, 4 movements, if you will. They're called the sky, the soil, the people, and the possibility. Now, all 4 of those sections also have musical EPs entitled those things. There's Terraform the Sky. It's a 7-song EP. Terraform the Soil, Terraform the People, and then the culmination is Terraform the Possibility. But as we were releasing those, we were releasing other things. And one of the things we released was the Terraform Cold Brew, which the last time I was on here was talking about us doing a canned cold brew that was tied to the Soil EP, you know what I mean? And because, the soil is sacred, that's where coffee comes from, right? And the give that is attached to all of these projects is an organization called Food for the Hungry. I got to go to Ethiopia, meet what we were building, who we were supporting. And so we were like, well, maybe we could sell y'all's coffee. Like, that could support, right? So that was one thing. But this Friday is the 4th and final EP. Each EP was produced by separate, different set of friends. One was Nate, the beat breaker, who's Lecrae's drummer, an amazing producer. My homeboy, DJ Malski, DJs for the Rams, very close friend of Derek and mine. And this last one is The Possibility on Friday, and it's produced by friend of the pod, King's Kaleidoscope, and our boy Daniel Steele and this other group called Ollie, who's a part of like that King's Kaleidoscope Northwest incredibly creative kind of circle. And it's the culmination of a, really a 4-year project, but publicly a 3-year project.
I'm excited. It's your best work. I don't
Thanks,
want to
man.
talk too much about the album because we're going to talk about it more on Tuesday's show.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the coffee. I didn't know, as a customer of your coffee, I didn't know that you met the farmers that you were getting the beans from and stuff.
Yeah, it's a whole partnership, man. There's like a whole interconnection. So the people that sourced it is my buddies at Onyx Coffee Lab. And they're the ones that kind of helped me when I was like, dude, I want to do a cold brew. They were like, we'll help. And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, well, I mean, we can get you some beans, and
We make coffee.
So
Yeah.
we make coffee. So they were like, but we want this to be your project. So where do you want the beans from? And I was like, actually, I'm doing this thing with Food for the Hungry. Like, we were able to loop around a bunch of different people. Mir, the people that make our cups, they actually, wanted to shoot some film in Colombia. So they were like, let's go do some tasting down there, So we went with Onyx to Colombia, and then Onyx was like, dude, we got this, our buddy in Ethiopia, who has a family in the Fairfax district, which is like 10 minutes from me, it's his family's plot in Ethiopia. You trying to go do that? I was like, I'm absolutely trying to go do that. So I met the different farmers, we cupped it, got to talk to them. What's beautiful about Onyx, I think I said this last time, is like their internal standard, which is something that I've taken on, is they pay 30% above market to the farmers for the cost of the beans, as just the idea of this is justice. If you know anything about the coffee industry, it's $1 billion industry and less than 2% goes to the farmers. So what we wanted to do is, again, this is terraforming. This is building the world we want to live in. Is like, well, we're going to pay them justly. So we know them, know their family, seen the plot, and we're paying them right.
Rob, I think that's amazing, man. I've purchased Terraform coffee. I can attest to its incredible quality. Also, my favorite mug I have, I think I've said this before when you were on.
Yep.
The bottom is made of cork, so it never needs a coaster. It's beautiful. It's one less thing I have to worry about is finding a coaster. But it's awesome, great design. But I do have a question for you about meeting some of these farmers.
Okay.
The question I have for you, Prop, is like I said, I've had the coffee. It's incredible. But if the scenario ever arose where you meet like a farmer and he's like, you got to taste it, man. And, you're there on their land and you're like, I'm just not feeling this cup. This is, maybe not the best.
Do you lie to the farmer?
Would you it's like, because Prop, you've probably been in this situation with artists. It probably I can't count the number of times someone's come to you and be like, hey man, you got to listen to this mixtape.
Hear my demo.
Got to listen to this. And
oh my God, it's awful.
in either of those scenarios, because like if I'm at a restaurant, I never ask the waiter, hey, what do you recommend? Because 99% of the
and
time,
then you reject it to his face.
It's like, I don't want the shepherd's pie, as a matter of fact. But at that point,
that sounds awful.
They're like, listen, the only thing I get here is the shepherd's pie. It tastes just like the one my grandfather used to make, and he immigrated from Ireland. I guarantee you with the highest assurance, you're going to love the shepherd's pie. And you're like, I think I'm going to go corned beef. I know I asked you directly. I'm going to go corned beef in this situation.
My out in that situation is always like, oh yeah, dude, I can't do dairy. Don't worry about it, bro. Like, I'm pretty sure it's good. I just can't eat dairy. Like, there's no dairy in shepherd's pie.
But what about the coffee farmer?
So the coffee farmer is different. It depends. Like, if he's selling me something, like if we're there to buy beans, right? Then there's a whole grading system with like the quality of beans. You know what I'm saying? So usually, if it's really bad, I'll be like, "What else you got? What else you got? What else you got?" So
what if he
just
says,
go through their different...
What if he comes out and says, this is our best, this is our pride and joy, this is the best we make, and you say what else you got?
Then what we can do, so there's with coffee, there's outs. Because you could be like, yo, like, what, is this an heirloom? Is this a geisha, a robustica? Like, we could be like, yo, like, really, I don't really prefer heirlooms. There's an out to where you can make it about yourself and your preference of like, it's just not really the species like we kind of dig. Like, I prefer something a little more fruit forward. But like, or there's so many moments of inflection. You could be like, yo, did y'all boil this water right? Like, you could blame the water. You could be like, when did you roast this? Oh, this. And then if that fool's like, oh, we roasted a week ago, it's perfectly gassed off. Then you're like, crap. Yeah, man. I don't know, dude. Maybe I had some like, I shouldn't have ate that. I shouldn't have ate that empanada before I got
juice.
here.
I just had some orange juice. So
weird
exactly.
toothpaste this morning.
You could do that.
My bad. I just had toothpaste. I just brushed my teeth, man. My bad. Yeah.
Yeah, you can blame a million things. You know what I'm saying? Now, if the dude is like, because usually it's like there's a language barrier. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to offend the entire country. You feel me? And in the coffee industry, there's also like a part of it where, you know, they know the game. They know like, they're not even selling us their best. It's their best goes to Dubai, you know, so the stuff that's like 95, 96%, like that are scoring that high, they selling that to Qatar and Dubai. So it's already not their best. You know what I'm saying? So when you bring it to me and you like this your best, we can joke about it like, okay, fool, I know it's not your best. You know what I'm saying? And so there's ways to like defuse the moment. With mixtapes, however, sometimes you have to tell young homie, like, listen, bro, you gotta keep working on your craft, dog. Like you can just, but the trick is to tell them specific things. Like you can't just be like, yo, this mug is trash. Like you have to be like, hey man, like, yo, this mix is kind of rough, homie. Like, you know, or, hey, I think maybe your voice this isn't the right key for you. You feel me? Like, hey, I think you need something right here. Maybe this isn't your tempo. Do you have anything at a slower tempo? You have anything at a higher tempo? You could tell them stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But you have to be specific, you know, because if you're not specific, you're a hater. If you specific, then it's like, oh, he's giving me game. And if I give you game, be very specific, and you still salty about it, it's like, all right, homie, good luck. You know what I'm saying? Somebody like it, you know, in SoundCloud, go to SoundCloud. Somebody gonna like it, you know?
It's like when I watch like Chef's Table or one of those shows where I feel like, you know, like this Michelin star chef like travels to some like French countryside pasture that has been growing the same grass for like 10 generations so that the cows that eat it can produce a certain kind of milk, and it's aged in the same barn to make these wheels of Parmesan, and they knock on it with a little hammer to make sure like the resonance, like, oh, this is ripe. And there's that moment where the chef like takes a bite of the Parmesan. I always want that to go differently, dude, because you just see their face like, oh, I taste the year. I want them one time to be like, I was kind of looking for more of a Newman Zone type of situation here.
Kind of mid.
Yeah. Little mid, man.
Dude,
I appreciate the 300 years of history.
I want so bad for someone on like a Comedy Central or somebody to write a show where the guy is like a traveling chef guy, but he has a really weak stomach. So every time he bites something, he kind of gags a little. Like he just everything makes him nauseous. So when he bites it, he can't get it down, and he's still trying to like. So he bites the truffle, and he's just like, am I tasting a little nutmeg? Hold on a little.
They should have a show for people with IBS. Yeah. They should have a food show for people with IBS.
Oh, yeah.
You have a sensitive stomach. I agree with that.
Yeah, but instead of like foods to solve that issue, it's foods that are going to be the absolute worst.
Yeah.
For it.
Well, how far you can take the line to where you're like, what tastes so good that's not going to destroy you for the next hour?
Who's not watching? Who's not watching?
Like if you're in Sweden or if you're in like some remote location there for the food, you don't want to have the bubble guts.
I don't want bubble guts the whole time. So what can I eat that's not going to destroy me, but still going to be good? I don't just want to come here for broth.
Yeah.
You know?
Hello. My name is Franz Schwartzman, one of the greatest chefs ever to live. I have a terrifying, debilitating stomach allergy to all seafood. Today, an afternoon in a South Korean seafood wet market. Join me. You know what I mean? Like, who's not watching?
I'm watching that.
Who
watching his face
like,
growl up while the chef is trying to tell him, and the guy's just making all these like, oh my God, I'm dying here faces. That'd be wonderful.
Excuse me, where is your restroom?
I like your Scandinavian accent, man.
Thank you.
When you did Terraform coffee, cold brew, canned, really cool label design, stuff like that, did you ever consider doing like custom collaborations with controversial influencers online to make custom labels? I was just wondering, because it could be good press for you. They say there's no such thing as bad press.
I am open to anybody. I don't care if you been canceled. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody
Wait, you're going to do a Harvey Weinstein special
He's
edition?
got a fan base. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh my God.
I'm kidding.
Bill Cosby.
I'm kidding.
Bros.
You know?
Give me the Bill Cosby can of Terraform.
Oh man, no, I'm kidding. But dude, yeah, no, I'll do custom. Look, man, I'm down for anything right now, especially at this point in the nobody told me. I thought selling coffee, I thought this was just like selling merch. I was wrong. This is starting a business. I was like, oh, sales calls and quarterly statements. And I was like, oh, I get why companies have somebody in charge of admin, somebody in charge of sales, somebody in charge of marketing. I was like, because for all of my career, the product has been me. You know what I'm saying? And this was the first time that I'm not the product. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, man. It's a tough market to crack that you're trying to crack. And B, the idea that somebody is buying a canned cold brew online that they haven't tasted, that's another challenge too. I mean, so you've got some pretty big barriers to get people to get excited about it. But hey, we're doing our part. I appreciate it. Jesse and I are customers. You are. And it's excellent stuff. And it's shelf stable in the fridge for up to a year.
In the cabinet. So, you can keep it in the cabinet. It tastes better in the fridge, but
I love canned. I am incredibly lazy when it comes to things around my home. You know, making coffee is such a chore for me. And much less how you guys
Prop
make
cannot
coffee.
relate to you. Prop spends 17 minutes for every cup. He's doing
I've witnessed it. It's like watching, White in the super lab. Like
it's a
liturgy, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's a game of precision. Yeah. Where for me, I'm just blindly scooping and I'm pulling the pot away before it's even brewed.
I just ready to go.
I mean? And it's dripping. I don't have the patience.
Well, look,
canned coffee is one of the greatest inventions.
And I'm giving you the quality of my 17-minute brewed, you know what I'm saying, in a can that you could just crack open. I'll even look right now. Let's get organic. I will open up the relevant. Let me open up Shopify here. Promo code relevant. I'm about to make it right now.
Done.
Boom. Let's do it. All right, everybody. 15% off. What's the website? What's the URL?
TerraformColdBrew.com. 15% off on the checkout at Relevant.
Everybody go do it.
Promo code Relevant. Spell it right because it won't work if you don't spell it right.
Yeah, don't spell it like Reliant K spelled it for the gold record that they sent us.
Oh my God.
They spelled it RELEVENT. So anyway, which I thought was funny because I put it on the wall. All right. Well, like I said, on Tuesday's show coming up, we will go into the album more. But in the meantime, go get it. Terraform, The Possibility releases today. Get it on every platform out there. You can go check it out. It's awesome. And can't wait for you guys to hear it, share it, spread the word, and then come back on Tuesday and we'll talk a little bit more about it.
I love it.
All right, we have a great show in store for you. Coming up later, we talked to author Lysa TerKeurst. We had her on the show, I don't know, like 6 months ago. Powerful devotional that she came out with. She has a really powerful story. We wanted to talk to her again. So she's coming up. You don't want to miss that. All right, stay tuned. Coming up next, it's Relevant Buzz. Listening to Chai. The song is Para Para. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Mercy Ships. Globally, 5 billion people lack access to surgical care. In sub-Saharan Africa, there's only one surgeon for every 200,000 people. Mercy Ships provides free, life-transforming surgeries for people who have little to no access to medical care. They help the blind see, straighten twisted limbs, remove deadly tumors, treat cleft conditions, and so much more. With state-of-the-art hospital ships, they provide safe surgery to children and adults living with treatable conditions, and it's completely free of charge. They do all this work with an all-volunteer crew of professionals who donate their time and talents. Surgeons, stewards, nurses, engineers, and more make the world a better place. Your donation today provides free, safe surgeries to people in desperate need of help. All gifts are matched, so please donate today at mercyships.org/relevant. Okay, it's time for
Relevant Buzz.
So here's the thing. Normally, Emily will just pop on and do Relevant Buzz with the cast and we all talk about it. But Emily, right now, through the magic of paid time off, is on vacation.
Woo!
Right now. So right before, literally moments before she leaves for vacation, we're like, oh no, we need Relevant Buzz. So she and I are recording Relevant Buzz without the cast. The cast is going to come back right after this segment, but we didn't want to let you down. And we know you listeners would be longing for and missing Emily. So we want to make sure she could be on this podcast. Welcome, Emily Brown.
That it might be the most beautiful introduction you've ever given me. I'm so glad to be here moments before I leave for vacation.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're so glad to be here before you leave for a week of vacation. Yeah. Jesse has gotten on during his week of vacation. You're like, no, hard boundaries, work-life balance. I'm gone.
I'm the kind of person, like, on my social media, I will probably tweet something like, hey guys, going out of town for the week. If you need me, no, you don't. Because don't bother me. I'm a big vacation girl.
I love that. I agree with it 100%, which is why we're recording it, just me and you. All right. So Relevant Buzz, covering what's happening this week at the intersection of faith and culture. Tell us what's going on.
Well, I'm actually really glad that I am part of this conversation because there is some big stuff happening in the Southern Baptist Convention. Last week, they had their annual meeting in New Orleans, and they made a pretty big decision that I think we need to unpack here. At the convention, they heard from two churches, Saddleback Church, started by Rick Warren, and Fern Creek Baptist Church in Kentucky. And these two churches had been brought forth because they have women pastors on staff. And according to the Southern Baptist Convention bylaws, that is not allowed. And the 13,000 members were voting on whether or not these churches should be expelled from the convention. Overwhelmingly, they were expelled. Nearly 88% voted to uphold the church's bans from the SBC. So these two churches are no longer part of the convention. And because of that, the SBC has also strengthened their statement of beliefs regarding the role of women in ministry, saying that while both men and women are gifted for service in the church, the office of pastor is limited to men as qualified by Scripture. That is a quote from them.
Okay, just want to clarify. The thing you just read is the existing statement of theology. There was a proposal at last week's convention by one of the members to evolve it, saying that no woman can be employed on a pastoral staff at a SBC church.
Correct. So a new amendment has been proposed by Virginia Pastor Mike Law to the SBC Constitution, saying that the Southern Baptist Church does not affirm, appoint, or employ a woman as a pastor of any kind.
And that's a key distinction because, like, the Saddleback dynamic is a very common dynamic with non-denominational churches, AG churches, where the senior pastor who replaced Rick Warren, he and his wife are both kind of co-pastors. She also does some teaching. So on staff, she's a teaching pastor. She wasn't the main pastor. So that's how they justified it. She was just a pastor on the pastoral staff. And the SBC said, absolutely not. If you read their current statement of belief, it says like the pastor has to be a man. And so now they're evolving that to say of any kind, pastor of any kind. So what's interesting to me, especially, is that in that conversation about voting on this more stringent restriction about women in ministry, which did pass, it won't be enacted until next year's convention when it has to get voted on again, but with a 2/3 majority. But one of the things that was interesting was a list was widely shared that there are currently 170 Southern Baptist churches that have women on their pastoral staff. Now, that is not a lead pastor per se. It may be children's pastor, it may be women's pastor, it may be worship pastor, but 170 churches. So if they are being consistent as a denomination, they don't call themselves the denomination, it's an association or whatever, the convention. If they're being consistent, kicking Saddleback out, they're going to have to kick out another 170 churches. And that to me is like cutting off your face to spite your nose. I mean, it's like, it is a declining association, the largest evangelical denomination in the country, and has been declining every year for years. And just last year, we reported this a few weeks ago, lost 500,000 members last year, largely because they're kicking out Saddleback and other prominent churches. But they lost 500,000 members, and now there's 170 more churches that have women employed on the pastoral staffs that are going to have to be excommunicated as well. It's like, okay, cool, guys. Either we might want to have a conversation here, or you're going to like sideline yourselves into oblivion. Like, I don't know. It's just interesting. As a non-Baptist, it's just interesting to watch this decision-making happen in real time.
Yeah, it's interesting as a former Baptist to watch it happen as well, because I grew up in this church, or grew up in an SBC church. I have heard this language my whole life. That shifted in college for a variety of reasons. But just kind of being outside of that now and seeing what's the conversation that's going on, you know, it is... Again, like I said, I grew up in it, so it's not completely shocking, but it is interesting that they are strengthening it to include things like you said, like roles like children's ministry, worship pastor, things like that. And so it'll be interesting to see what these 170 churches do, because really they have two options. One is continue to employ these women and have them on staff and transition out of an SBC church, or adhere to those new laws and have to fire or get rid of these at once considered qualified women, and now they have to find a man to replace them. But like you said, it is interesting too, because the SBC, I think for well over a decade, has been consistently losing members each year. So you'd think they'd want to do something to not lose more members, but it looks like they are willing to take that risk and strengthen their constitution for their convention.
Good for them. I don't get it. Whatever. SBC, yo.
It's its own realm. I'll give them that.
It's like, okay, if the thing we've been doing has led to our decline year after year for the last decade plus, maybe we should. I'm not saying que sera, sera, believe whatever you want, but Rick Warren made some very compelling cases last week about how the fundamental theological approach of the Southern Baptist Convention radically changed in the last 20 years. And up to that change, the denomination thrived and grew every year. And then they enacted this hardcore, you have to believe this letter of the law to be deemed SBC, and they have since that moment declined every year. And it's like, prior to that, we were an association of independent congregations that had certain things we agreed on, but there's definitely thing which made us want to, you know, unify and link arms together. But then there was things that we didn't necessarily have to agree on, and now you have to agree to every letter of this law, or else you're deemed unworthy. Rick Warren made the point that there's something like, I'm going to misquote this, 49,000 words in the statement of belief. And Rick said, we disagree on one word. That is 99.99999% agreement. And he said to the meeting with, you know, however many thousands of people there, he said, isn't that good enough? And the auditorium shouted back at him, no. That is wild to me, that we disagree on one word and you're going to expel, you know, pretty much the most prominent church in your association. That is just wild to me. But anyway, go Christians.
SBC, they got to keep things on their toes, you know? Keep it interesting.
Yeah, keep it interesting. Why can't we just have good old-fashioned church splits like the good old days?
Oh, I mean, I guarantee you the SBC is also still happening. Those are still happening there. I went through quite a few church splits as a kid.
Did you really?
I've gone through 3 church splits in my life.
Did your family like never speak to people who like went with the wrong one after that?
You know, what's funny is the first one, we were part of the group that left. We went to a different church. The second one, when I was in high school, we were part of the group that stayed. So it's interesting to kind of, I've been on both sides of it. The part that, you know, the one that leaves, the one that stays. I don't know which side I like better. It's
Maybe don't choose churches that are so contentious they keep splitting.
Well, so after the third one happened when I was in college, my pastor at the time, I left with that group, and I was talking with the pastor who also left, and it was the first time he'd gone through a church split, and I was kind of like walking him through it, being like, oh, I know how to deal with this. And I told him, I was like, if it makes you feel better, you can just kind of blame it on me, because at this point, I think I might be the common denominator here. That all three of these churches, every church I've been a part of has split. So,
all right, well, watch out, the Belonging Co. in Nashville. Downtown Emily Brown is in your midst, and apparently she's a divisive force.
I was 7 when the first one happened, so I don't think we can blame that one on me. But maybe
it started in the children's ministry. You had a female children's pastor, and that was just way too controversial for your Baptist church. Yeah. All right, what else is going on?
The next thing is something that is very interesting to me. The CW announced last week The Chosen will start airing this summer. So their first 3 seasons have already been made, and starting in July, they're gonna release an episode each week, and just promote it to its national U.S. broadcast debut on the CW of all channels.
Through the end of the year. I mean, it's not like a little 8-week miniseries. Like they're running it from June till it's done.
Now that Riverdale's over, they had to fill that time slot, I guess. So
every Thursday, right after Lois and Clark, make sure to stay tuned for The Chosen.
Is that? I mean, truly, what is on the CW? It's Riverdale's over, then so it's just superheroes, and
whose line is it anyway? I don't know. I
guess that's on
the
CW.
Improv show. It was. I think it got canceled. To be honest with you, the Wayne Brady show. Let me think. I actually don't know. It's not my target demo.
I don't know whose it is.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's a big deal. Like, when was the Bible on TV? Other than, I think, AD, that NBC did a series with Mark Burnett and Roma Downey for 8-10 episodes. Back 10, 12 years ago. And I guess that was the last time the Bible was on broadcast television. Good for The Chosen.
And the CW seems pretty excited about it. I do have to read this one quote.
This is the best.
From the CW's president of entertainment. Let's see if I can get through this. The Chosen is based on the biggest IP of all time and is truly a one-of-a-kind series that tells a historically significant story in a captivating, dramatic, and premium way. And I really need us to focus on the fact that he's referring to The Chosen. I'm sorry, he's referring to the biggest IP of all time, which is Jesus. The Bible, Jesus. I'm currently, or now and forever, I will be referring to my faith as part of the biggest IP of all time.
For sure.
Because
I'm a Jesus follower. He is the biggest IP of all time.
Yeah. What a beautiful way to describe our faith.
I'm not a Swiftie. I'm a Jesus-y. He's a way bigger IP than Taylor Swift.
Christian. The word you're looking for is
Christian. Not a Jesus-y.
Yeah, Christians were the original fangirls, okay? So let's put some respect on their name.
All right. Well, there's a lot more buzz where that comes from. Make sure to check relevantmagazine.com every weekday where we're posting the latest at the intersection of faith and culture and justice and life, all the good stuff. Thanks, Emily. Thanks for doing this extra little bonus segment with me before you leave on your well-deserved vacation. We miss you. I'm saying this in the current of when the people are listening to it. We miss you because I know that we will be, though yet I, at the moment of this recording, don't yet miss you. I know that I will miss you.
Yeah, that tracks. That wasn't confusing at all.
Got it. All right, perfect. All right, relevantmagazine.com. See you, Emily.
Bye, guys.
Stay tuned. Up next, Lysa TerKeurst joins us. You're listening to Internet Boy. The song is Bestie. Well, today's show is brought to you in part by the new book, God, the Science, the Evidence. We talk a lot about faith, but how often do we talk about science in the same breath? You might be surprised to discover just how deeply the two actually agree. For centuries, science has been used to dismiss the idea of God, but today an intellectual revolution is underway. Modern discoveries in physics, cosmology, and biology are consistently revealing the same truth: creation isn't an accident. That profound reversal is what engineers Michel-Yves Bolloré and Olivier Bonassi investigate in their international bestseller, God, the Science, the Evidence. This book is a rigorous, evidence-based critique of materialism, inviting you to explore over a dozen scientific, philosophical, and historical domains. It shows that what was once seemed impossible, that science could point to a creator, is now supported by a vast and convergent body of evidence. With over 400,000 copies sold in Europe, this book is sparking a global debate. It's thoughtful, fascinating, and a powerful reminder that reason itself affirms the existence of God. Learn more and find out where you can purchase your copy today by visiting godthesciencetheevidence.com. Our guest today is author and speaker Lysa TerKeurst, the president and chief visionary officer of Proverbs 31 Ministries and 6-time New York Times bestselling author. She's recently released her latest book, Good Boundaries and Goodbyes, where she helps us stop the dysfunction of unhealthy relationships by showing us biblical ways to set boundaries and, when necessary, say goodbye without losing the best of who we are. Here's part of our conversation with Lysa TerKeurst.
To talk specifically about family members. What are some ways that we can sort of navigate those boundaries in a healthy way?
Well, remember, where there is that feeling of relational chaos, that's usually an indication where, okay, there needs to be some sort of a boundary here. So how this sometimes shows up for people is they start thinking about the family gathering and different personalities that will be invited to the family gathering and different dynamics that create some anxiety that you really don't want to be part of the holiday meal. So let's use Thanksgiving for an example. Let's say you love getting together with your family at Thanksgiving and you're having everyone over to your home, and you treasure your Uncle Fred. He's amazing. However, he loves to bring up politically divisive, almost polarizing conversations because he just loves a great debate. And you just absolutely don't have the emotional capacity to get pulled into one of those kinds of conversations, because you start to realize in the past that does not bring out the best in me. And all of a sudden I get knee deep in this conversation with Fred, and then Judy pops in and Emmeline pops in, and suddenly now we've got 3 different other people who maybe they all see something one way and I see it a different way. And now I feel ganged up against, and now I'm feeling rejected by my own family. And now I'm getting defensive, and now I'm raising my voice. And now Thanksgiving went from this beautiful celebration where I'm thankful for my family to this disastrous conversation that I am angry, feeling rejected, feeling unheard, feeling unseen, feeling definitely underappreciated because I just cooked all this food and cleaned the house and had everybody over and decorated and all this stuff. And it just starts to swirl and I lose it. Push back from the Thanksgiving table and just say, fine. You know, if this is the way things are going to be, blah, 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 blah. And suddenly I go from being this kind, gracious host to being someone who just lost their cool. And so I think about these kinds of things ahead of time, and therefore I want to keep the best of who I am front and center. So with my book, Good Boundaries and Goodbyes, the subtitle is Loving Others Without Losing the Best of Who I Am. And so I think to myself, if I want to be kind, if I want to be a gracious host, if I want to demonstrate everything that's really true to why I'm having this Thanksgiving dinner in the first place, then I need to have a conversation with Fred ahead of time. And I need to inform him. I don't need to over-explain or justify. or even try to control Fred, because it's not my job to control him. It's my job to control me. And so I just informed Fred through a phone conversation or maybe through an email. Uncle Fred, you are such a delight, and I'm so grateful you're able to come to Thanksgiving this year. I do need to inform you, I do not have the emotional capacity for certain topics and politically divisive conversations to arise. Therefore, you are welcome to do whatever it is that you feel like you need to do, but I need to inform you if those topics come up, then I will kindly step away from the table until those conversations have ended. So therefore, I'm not trying to control Fred, but I am informing him, if you want me to stay at the table, then we need to avoid those conversations. And it's okay if he refuses. I mean, it's not okay. He should be respectful of that. But you're not going to try to control him. You're not going to try to manipulate him. You're not going to try to control an uncontrollable situation. But you are going to remain self-controlled. And if that means removing yourself from the table temporarily or removing yourself from that conversation, just turn and talk to the other end of the table, then you've already established that ahead of time. And you already have a plan. See, we need to plan in times of strength for times of potential chaos or weakness. And so that's your way to plan. Now, remember that third word, besides access and responsibility, the third word is consequence. You have to think through, what is this going to cost you? Because it may cost you being able to talk to that end of the table. It may cost you a 15-minute break where you remove yourself from the table and then come back when the conversation's over. So it will cost you something, but if it saves your sanity and keeps you stable and helps you stay self-controlled, then it's worth it.
You bring up a question I wanted to talk about. Your book talks about goodbyes as well. So, when someone doesn't respect our boundaries, how do we know when it's time to say goodbye? Well, we need to look for not a mistake that someone made. We need to look for, is this a pattern of behavior? Because look, we're all going to make mistakes. And just because we make a mistake doesn't necessarily mean there needs to be a goodbye, depending on the severity of the mistake, obviously. Of course, yeah. But when this becomes a repeated pattern of behavior where the other person really is unwilling or maybe incapable of bringing responsibility to properly handle what they need to be responsible for within the dynamics of their part of this relationship. If they bring zero responsibility, then we need to consider zero access. And we need to take steps, not leaps. And we need to recognize that some goodbyes are just for a season, a temporary separation, and other goodbyes may be for much longer. But as we consider this, there's two things that I would highly recommend before saying goodbye. Number one is ask yourself, is this a repeated pattern where I am unsafe, unstable, or I feel like I'm losing my sanity? I keep saying to myself, this is making me crazy, or am I crazy? So ask yourself some really wise questions. And secondly, don't go at it alone. Get other wise people to help you, and don't hide information from them. Don't soften what is the reality of the situation, so that the wise counsel you have can really help you assess, how unstable is this? How unsafe is this? How much is this affecting your sanity? And of course, I think it's wise to always get some good counseling as well. I have an amazing Christian counselor, and he was one of my trusted advisors and confidants in me being able to process when enough was enough. But I did want to throw kind of one more question out to you. Like I said, I grew up in the South, and I think this is a pretty common idea in the South, that we are supposed to be very welcoming and inviting. And we do see that in scripture as well, but I feel it a lot in the South mostly. How do we balance being welcoming and inviting with still establishing those boundaries?
Well, I would say we establish boundaries so that we can remain welcoming and inviting. And what I mean by that is if you are allowing unhealthy dysfunctions in so many relationships, you're going to get worn out, worn down, and fractured and frazzled. And it's going to have the opposite effect. You're not going to want to be welcoming. You're going to start having cynicism, like all people are just awful, and all Christians are awful, or all, community groups are awful, because you've allowed the lack of boundaries to bring out this fractured, frazzled version of yourself. And so for the sake of remaining gracious and welcoming, or whatever is true to your personality and the best of who you want to be, you have to establish boundaries. So remember, boundaries are not meant to shove other people away. They're meant to hold me together so that I can love others well without losing the best of who I am. Now, I will also add to that, being a Southern girl myself, there are certain expectations that can get very confusing. Like, well, didn't Jesus call us to lay down our life for our friends? Didn't Jesus model we're to lay down our life for our friends? Yes, Jesus laid down his life, but he did it to accomplish a high and holy purpose. He did not do it to enable bad behavior or people please.
Was Lysa TerKeurst. Make sure to check out her latest book, Good Boundaries and Goodbyes. All right, stay tuned. Up next, it's your feedback.
Procedure of how
You're listening to Voices of Fire and Pharrell Williams. The song is Joy Unspeakable. It's not often you get gospel songs featuring Pharrell. I think it's happened a couple of times, but it's a great song. Well, today's podcast is brought to you in part by the new book, Confessions of a Christian Alcoholic. Author Jonathan Seidel knows firsthand how even believers can get stuck in shame and destructive habits, especially when it comes to one of society's biggest obsessions, alcohol. In Confessions of a Christian Alcoholic, he details his spiral into disordered drinking and shares the 4-step process he eventually used to break free. There's hope for alcoholics who become Christians and for Christians who become alcoholics. Find Confessions of a Christian Alcoholic wherever books are sold. What if you could change a child's life with just $10? Right now, thousands of vulnerable children in East Africa are suffering from jiggers. It's a painful, preventable parasite that burrows into their feet. Soul Hope is the only organization treating it through foot washing, medical care, and durable closed-toed shoes that protect kids long after treatment. $10 may not seem like much in today's world, but when we come together, those small gifts add up to big change. Join the 10 for 10 campaign. $10 protects 10 small toes. Visit soulhope.org/10 to give now. One small gift makes a big difference. Again, that's Soulhope, SOLE, hope.org/TEN. All right, well, it's time for your feedback. normally. But what about this episode has been normal? Literally nothing. So I told you Emily is out. And while we pre-prepared a couple of segments, we did not pre-prepare your feedback. So your feedback is just living on Twitter. And if you want to go see the answer to last week's question of the week, you can find Relevant Podcast on Twitter, and it's all there. Look at our mentions and stuff like that. So instead of doing your feedback, I thought we would continue something we did on the last episode, a summer edition of Would You Rather.
Cameron, I want to do that, but
yes,
sometimes a little peek behind the curtain. Sometimes, between segments, we have a minute or two, and I'm just casually scrolling, as I often do on. I'm not a TikTok user, but I use Instagram Reels, which I feel like Instagram Reels is basically, it's basically TikTok 3 days later.
Yes.
It's like, oh, did you see what all the kids were looking at?
3 weeks later, buddy. Maybe
did you see what all the kids were looking at a couple weeks ago? Anyway.
I love it.
but it's the same thing. Who cares, right?
And apparently TikTok is Reddit 3 days later. Apparently. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to have the Chinese government, be all up on my devices, knowing what kind of dance videos I watch. That's clearly a threat to the future.
National security.
China has infiltrated the TikTok algorithm.
I didn't know China cared about my love of power washers and rug cleaners and rug ASMR.
Wait. Is this seriously in your algorithm? Is that your algorithm on TikTok?
You've never seen the rug washer ASMR?
Yeah, I mean, not the ASMR. I'll see rug washers duet somebody, like a Chappelle comedy sketch, and then on the other frame, they're just cleaning rugs.
No. I'll follow a spot from Colorado. And I mean, I sound like Homer Simpson looking at donuts. I'm just like, oh yeah, clean that rug. It is the dopest thing. I don't know what happened I'll tell you, the hour we signed the papers to own this house, all of a sudden, I cared about all of it. Lawns, power edgers, power washers, cleaning rugs. I could not care less until then. Anyway.
Well, real quick, can I recommend the subreddit Oddly Satisfying? It is nothing but that type of content of like, just things being cleaned in a very precise way or whatever. You get the idea.
Yeah.
But anyway, scrolling between segments, killing some time as we do that's what Reels are for, right? Sitting in line somewhere, like waiting in line at the grocery store or whatever at a stoplight. Mm-hmm. That's basically what they're used for, is to kill a few minutes. I mostly understand how the algorithm works. Like, it's a lot of basketball highlights, a lot of funny memes, a lot of stand-up comedy, a lot of comedians on podcasts or whatever. I've had two things start popping up on the algorithm that I have no idea why they keep getting served to me, but I'm kind of here for it. One is content completely centered around the golfer John Daly. Do you guys know John Daly?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I get John Daly clips on my feed too.
Well, how is this happening?
Not a clue.
I play.
I don't know.
Okay, I play golf maybe once a year if it's like, or maybe twice a year if it's like a friend's birthday or like a wedding.
I play twice a decade and I get these golf clips. It's so strange.
I don't know who John Daly is.
He's the guy. He's like the big fat guy who would like have a beer in one hand, a cigar in his mouth, and then whack a ball like 400 yards. He was a pro golfer. He was the Babe Ruth of pro golfing. Yeah.
He's this debauched lunatic who goes from golf tournament to golf tournament in like a traveling circus caravan of trailers that just, it's like he posts up and parties everywhere, and he dresses outrageous. He's objectively hilarious. But the thing is, like, but a legit golfer, because like there's stories upon stories
really
upon
good,
stories
though.
of like him at the Masters the night before the opening tee, for the Masters qualifying. He's like trying to get some of the other golfers to like party with them, and it's like, dude, I'm going to bed. It's 9 p.m. We got to golf at 6 a.m. And then John Daly stays up till 4 a.m, partying, drugs, drinking, the whole thing. Goes out there at 6 a.m. for tee off. And it like is in second place out of 800 golfers.
I see what they're doing with him.
It's insane, like how successful he is with how little he cares about the sport. So.
Well, I'm definitely going to start. I'm going to take my phone off. I'm going to take my phone off airplane mode so it can hear me say his name, John Daly. and we'll see if it shows up in my
But
algorithm.
Here's what's so baffling to me. I don't talk about John Daly. I don't search the
Ever.
internet for John Daly related content. I
Zero.
rarely think about John Daly. But for some reason, every fifth clip has become John Daly content. And I don't know why, but Cameron, I find it interesting that you're also getting served a tremendous amount of John Daly content these days.
Well, it's because here's my theory is like one kind of went viral and I paused long enough on it to watch long enough on it. It read my iris of my eyes, enjoying it. And it said more of that content. And so now it's like shoving me golf content and I scroll past all of this tutorial stuff really fast. But when a crazy John Daly one shows up, I maybe don't scroll quite as fast. And so it thinks that I like John Daly videos.
Here's my
That's
theory.
so
John Daly is slowly taking over the Instagram algorithm. It is becoming a John Daly site. Mark Zuckerberg has gone full John Daly. And I'll be honest, I think I'm here. Like we always hear about how nefarious these algorithms are and how AI is going to take over the world. But if the first step in the world domination is just serving everyone on the planet a lot of John Daly videos, then I'm not that worried. The other thing, and again, I don't know why I'm getting served this. I keep getting clips of this dude who's like a young guy, and he apparently it's like a podcast, right? Or appears to be, and he's only telling stories about his brief time in some sort of low security prison. And it is about people sneaking McDonald's in. It's about how he watched a guy hop the fence and run into the woods one day. I'll be honest. I'm here for the content. And once I started getting served them, I just don't know why I'm getting this young guy who went to some financial crime and went to a minimum security prison, and he's just telling minimum security prison stories. I don't know why. I get that and John Daly have taken over my feed.
I think there's something to when Apple started launching the Ask App Not to Track type situation that now they're working with a much smaller data body on you. So they're just guessing. You know what I'm saying? So when our apps were tracking everything, they knew so much about us, they could hyper focus. Now you don't know enough about me because I'll be telling my apps not to track me. So now, I feel like my algorithm every about 4-5 days just picks a topic. One time it was just like, it's just dudes that like brush their hair to get waves. You know what I'm saying? So it's just black dudes brushing their hair to make waves in their hair. And I was like, well, first of all, I have dreadlocks. So you really guessing. Then after that, it was, comedy things. Then it was, like sexy chefs. And I was like, what? Like you're guessing. You're just guessing.
I'm getting a lot of people getting pulled over right now, like Karen's getting pulled over. And like yelling at the cops in the middle of the night and stuff like that.
But at some point, there's a computer making a decision like, oh, Cameron Strang just signed on. I bet I know what he's looking for. More stories from a minimum security prison told by a 27-year-old nerdy white guy. Let's feed him 6 of them right in a row.
How about light fixtures? Like just guessing.
All right, how about this? Here is a very in shape, shirtless man cooking shrimp parmesan. Here you go, prop.
That's what I'll get.
Like it is. Yeah, it's
like word.
It's like one who's making.
Hey, look at this! Look at this Amazon find. You can stuff cotton balls into this small space with a clear handle, and I'm like, it's dope. Thanks.
To me, it's like that algorithm has come like the Big Lots of internet meme content. It's like, it's not the premium goods that you see floating around going viral. It's like, well, someone created all this John Daly content. We got to serve it every once in a while. It's the Big Lots. This didn't sell the first.
It's the clearance content algorithm.
It's the back corner
Burlington
of TJ
Maxx.
Yeah.
Yes.
My TikTok is the TJ Maxx of algorithms. Great.
It's like these memes are not meant for prime time. These memes are, we got to get rid of them. We got to shuffle them out and get the new stuff in here. We got a lot of minimum security prison story content. Get them through the algorithm. Just
like I want to know, like when I think about like influencers and stuff, like the Kardashians or whatever, when they're scrolling TikTok, you think that their feeds are like this aspirational thing that represents their life and style and all that. But you know that if the algorithm is doing this stuff to us, it's doing it to Kim Kardashian too. She's scrolling, seeing like people get pulled over and carpet cleaning videos and all the random stuff we're seeing too. And that cracks me up. That like, you know, like there are these influencers in this space and their videos aren't getting seen because some carpet cleaning video caught the algorithm better than their video that their team made, you know, that kind of thing. That's hilarious to me.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I really want to know what's their like on the nose, just like mom life, dad life, like ad that's popping up in theirs, because she's still a mom. Moms is moms. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes moms want a really nice pillow. Like, you know, what's the sham wow of her world? Like what, you know, she's just seeing these terracotta, like, you know, counter cleaning, and she's just like, oh my God, dude, that would baby be dropping stuff all over the carpet. I can't ever get this stuff out the carpet. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that that's popping up on hers?
Jesse just sent us a picture of John Daly in the chat. Did you see it?
It's for frame of reference for prop.
Oh, let me look. Oh my God.
He just saw John Daly for the first time of his life.
Yes, party Santa right now.
That's us, party Santa.
Well, I hope you get the gift of him being served to your album. But the other one I get is like is usually it's a young guy and he's looking very stoically right at the camera and he's nodding, making eye contact, and he's pointing up. And above, like the like text comes on the screen like the 4 craziest monkey videos YouTube had to pull down. And you're like, all right, what? I don't know why he's so serious about this, but I'm watching them, you know? And it's like just like crazy monkey. Again, I'm no longer skeptical of these algorithms. I think they're just cracking the code on what people actually want to watch, you know?
Listen, I think Prop is dead on, because I have all the privacy turned on in my TikTok and IG, where it's like I turned off the mic, like I don't let it track me and all this kind of stuff. So my algorithm being completely random is my own fault.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like you, Jesse. I kind of liked the heyday of my online experience knew me. The ads were tailored to me. It's a trade-off, man. Content was tailored to me. Yeah. I'm kind of
really a trade-off.
I kind of want to go back to it. I kind of want to go back to that. But
and you know what? It's crazy. Like I do listen to some of these like tech like podcasts and stuff like that. And that's one of the things that they're talking about futuristically. It's like we hated it, but it's almost like you don't know what you got till it's gone, man. You know, we were mad that these ads were nailing it because it's like that's creepy, but they're like, okay. Well, if you don't want us to, then here's this completely irrelevant thing that doesn't matter to you at all. And it's like, why are you showing me this? Well, because we don't know you anymore. When you told us everything about you, we could give you exactly what you were looking for.
We feel like we were losing you. So we brought out our heavy hitter, John Daly. He's
John Daly. Yeah, literally, the heavy hitter. This will
bring you back in. Yeah.
Dude, that should be his nickname, the heavy hitter. Why is it the heavy hitter?
Party Santa. Anyway. Party Santa, the heavy hitter.
So Prop, to this point though about the tracking is like I was always for it. Like I wasn't a big privacy person. Who cares? I don't have anything to hide. I mean, you guys can hack my phone and release all my photos of my dog and my kid. You know, like I don't care. Yeah. But so I was never a big privacy person. The thing that changed the conversation for me was augmented reality, where obviously, you know, we're at the very beginning of true augmented reality being part of our lives, but this is literally our future, where your car dashboard or your car windshield will be an augmented reality screen. Your, you know, glasses won't look like the new Apple goggles. They'll look like normal glasses and things like that. And so what you see in the real world will be augmented digitally. And they talk about the algorithm, and the trap with that is that there will be a lot of bias in it. And so like you're walking in a mall or in a store, in the future, good version is you walk into that store, the store knows you walked into that store and knows what you've bought at that store and knows other things you've browsed online, so it can highlight certain products and pricing to you. And so like I walk into the store and I see a deal on Nike sneakers, or I see a deal on this, and it's like, ooh, that's going to entice me because it knows me as a consumer, and other people in that store wouldn't have that same deal. And I'm like, man, that sounds awesome from a position of privilege, it is awesome.
Yeah.
Because the counter of that is people could walk in that store and that store doesn't want them as a customer and they get the inverse experience and they raise prices for certain types of customers.
You can't afford this.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a way of them being, whether it's racial bias or, other demographic bias or economic bias. And oh, that's not good for society. It's going to widen the gap, And so it's that to me is the scary part of the algorithm.
Yeah. The way it's almost again, if you don't ever get, the bee out of your batter, if you will, no matter what you bake, it's going to have that. So if we think of it, the way I try to say this is I know, right?
Unpack that one. What does that mean? Bee out of the batter.
Does that happen a lot?
This is what I'm about to tell you. It does.
Shut the window when you're cooking. That's all I'm saying.
Where are you cooking? Yeah. Where are you baking?
Go inside to bake.
Next to an open beehive.
Yeah. If you're fishing in the ocean, I'll mix my metaphor here. You're going to pull out a saltwater fish. Right? Because that's the ocean. If you're in freshwater, you're going to pull out a freshwater fish. You can argue about salmon spawning in freshwater, but they got to go back. You know why? Because salmon will die if they stay in the freshwater. The point I'm making is if the institution is biased, no matter what comes out of it, it's going to have a bias because it came out of that institution. So being surprised that the algorithm is going to have a bias is because our institutions, that's what our goulash is. So that's what I meant by if you don't deal with the initial problem, right? Mm-hmm. Which is the bee in your batter. Thank you very much. Right. Then no matter
still don't get that one.
No, I'm saying you got a bug in the batter. So whether you make them biscuits, pancakes, waffles, it's going to have bee crap in it. Because you ain't take the bee out of your batter. I was trying to be a little more white with my stuff. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I trying.
That's good.
But the point is the point I'm trying to make is if you never deal with the fundamental institutional problem, no matter what we create that comes out of it, it's going to have that institutional issue. It's just going to keep showing up everywhere.
The catch-22 right now, I enjoyed my online experience more when I allowed tracking because things were more tailored to me. And now that I've turned all that off intentionally, I have the most random online experience, which actually doesn't make me want to come back as often. You know what I mean? Because it's not as for me.
I'm worried it knows me too well. I'm worried it knows I'm going to spend some time in a minimum security prison and it's prepping me with these hilarious podcast stories.
So you're not going to be too stressed out when it inevitably happens.
What other answer?
There is no other answer.
Yeah. But the idea then of that future where if I opted in to the cloud and my retail experience, my driving experience, my entertainment experience was tailored to me and what I would like most, that's a better way of living for me. But if I opt in and it actually feeds something that's harmful for society because it would be conversely bad for somebody else, then I can't in good conscience do that. So that's the catch-22. That's the fork as a society that we're facing right now, a fork in the road with all this algorithm stuff.
Yeah, it's at the end of the day, who is curating our experience? And at least we have whether it's an illusion or not, we still believe we're curating our own experience. We might be led or guided, if you will, but if the eyes for which I'm looking through things is through an augmented lens, then that meant that there is a server telling my eyes what to see, which, like I said, in some senses, we could stretch that to be well, that's already how we live, but is it though? You know what I'm saying? Have we reached a place, like you said, a point of inflection where we are no longer curating our experience?
Well, okay, let me say, but to your point that you just made, we have been living in that reality because you drive into certain neighborhoods and there's check cashing stores and liquor stores at a much higher level than other neighborhoods. And so it's already society has changed our experiences and our physical experiences and what is being pushed to us, the billboards that are being pushed to us and things like that. But this would be at such a hyper personalized level that it's inescapable. Yeah. All right. Well, we're not going to do Would You Rather. We just did deep thoughts about the algorithm and John Daly clips.
I think we have a question of the week as well. which is what is the weirdest little meme rabbit hole that has suddenly popped up into your, like,
I love
Cameron,
it.
you have the pullover videos. I have Prison Guy and John Daly. You know,
I'll
Prop,
be
you have
honest,
attractive
the
chef
people getting
content.
pulled over body cam videos are pretty awesome. I'm a sucker for
I don't know
them.
how to get them into my feed, but I would if
Seeing people freak out during a pullover or DUI that it goes sideways is great. I'm sorry. So
It's pretty funny.
I'm my own
but how
worst
do I
enemy.
get
Yeah.
that? How do I trigger the algorithm?
I will send you a couple. Well, you know what? You're on Reels, so I'll send you ones that I saw 3 weeks ago, and then you can see
give me
Reels.
give me the ones that were very popular on TikTok approximately 1 month ago, and
Yeah.
I will watch watch the elder
one
millennial
Reels.
version like a real adult does. Okay, a real adult. I'm not 17. A real adult doesn't spend late night hours scrolling TikTok. Real adult spends late night hours scrolling Instagram Reels. So send him that way.
Yes.
All right. Well, hit us up on Twitter at Relevant Podcast and tell us the weirdest like algorithm wormholes that keep getting pushed to you. Send us clips. We will play them on the show next week.
I did get a parkour little bump one time, which was fun.
Oh, I had a window of
went.
parkour. Yeah.
I don't know where those went, but
Because it's not 2008. What are you talking about? You got parkour videos.
I got some parkour videos. I told you they're guessing.
they are guessing, and some of them it was like, ooh, that was close right there. He almost fell off the side of that skyscraper. That was.
I do get
real
a few
thrill for me.
parkour fails though.
Yeah,
I get
Those
those
are
these days,
I've got
which are horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are rough. That guy died. Yeah. Okay. Hit us up on Twitter at Relevant Podcast. Well, before we wrap things up, I want to thank Lysa TerKeurst for joining us today. Make sure to check out her recent book, Good Boundaries and Goodbyes. It's available wherever you get your books. Also, a couple of updates before we sign off. If you haven't signed up yet for Relevant Plus, it is the best way to experience our content, including a gorgeously designed, enhanced digital magazine. You also get ad-free unlimited viewing at relevantmagazine.com. You get an ad-free version of this podcast, an exclusive subscriber podcast each week as well. And plans start as low as just $2.50 a month. There you go. If you don't want ads, you want unlimited and a beautiful digital magazine experience, check out Relevant Plus. All the info is right there at relevantmagazine.com. Also, make sure to follow us on all the socials. We're posting every day on Twitter at Relevant, on Instagram, on Facebook, all of our content. You don't want to miss a thing. Or if you aren't a social media person, you can go over to our homepage and sign up for our daily newsletter where we send you our top 5 trending stories to your inbox each weekday morning. It's a great way to stay in the loop. Okay, on that note, we'll wrap it up. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey.
I'm propaganda.
All right, Prop's going to join us on Tuesday. Don't miss it. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
Excuse me, where is your restroom?
Relevant Podcast Network.